Now, you've been in Parliament 25 years, is that correct?
28 years. I was
28.
elected on the 19th of September 1981, much to my surprise. People said, Fred, look, you're a bit controversial, people know your name. If you put your name on the ballot paper, you'll get a lot of votes. You won't get elected, but it'll be a message to all the politicians. So I said, okay, put my name on the ballot paper. And I remember saying to my wife that day, at the end of the day, I said to my wife, Elaine, that's the last time I'll do that. And we'll pray for God's guidance, what else we should do in the future. That was our little go at politics. And the phone rang, it was Malcolm McCarris. And he said, Fred, I don't know what's happening, but they've only counted 300,000 votes, so you're getting 10% of them. And if that continues with the whole 3 or 4 million votes, you're going to be elected to Parliament. I said, what? And I dropped the phone. He said, you better go down and find out whether it's just a glitch in the counting or something. So I got in the car, raced down where they were counting the votes, and I was arriving with a whole lot of politicians and the media around. They all started patting me on the back saying, congratulations, congratulations, you've been elected to Parliament. I said, what? And so that's how it started. No one was more surprised than me.
It's funny, you mentioned your wife Elaine, and you said this is the last time we're ever going to do this.
Yeah.
But she actually stood by your side as an elected member for 15 years
That's
as well,
right.
didn't she?
Yeah, we've always had a partnership in our ministry, and I've always prayed with Elaine, because as you know, when you're involved with Christian ministry, you do a lot of different types of ministries. They're all Christian, but you're serving God through, I organise Billy Graham crusades, Christian Endeavour youth movements, a whole lot of Brian Willisdorf crusades, and so on. So each of those calls meant a lot of movement in your family. You had to move to another house and another office and so on. So I always made sure my wife was right on the wavelength, saying, look, I really believe this is God's will for me. I want you to feel it's God's will for you too. So we'll pray about it. If you don't think it's God's will, then we don't do it. And so we've had a real partnership. And the greatest partnership was when we needed a candidate in the upper house, and our party membership said we'd like to have Elaine, especially all the women. So we'd love to have a real strong woman in Parliament. So Elaine reluctantly agreed. She said, I don't want to be the candidate. I don't want to go into politics. And I said, I believe it's God's will for you. And she said then, well, I'll follow what it says in the Ephesians, that a wife should be obedient to her husband, so I'll do it. And she got elected, 200,000 votes. And so she spent nearly 15 years in Parliament with me, both of us standing there, sitting there and speaking for God and the family, for marriage, and actually what God said to me, Fred, I want you to demonstrate it, not just talk about it, demonstrate it.
So it seems like maybe this is a great message for the politicians out there. Yeah. From what you've said about yourself and Elaine, the way to get elected is to not want to be elected.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair statement?
In that case, yeah. Well, it worked.
Okay.
That was God's will. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, tell us about the party today.
Good. Well, that was 81, and as I was elected as a Christian, I then had to form a base political party, and so we tried a few different names. But the first one we had was a bit radical. We called it the Family Action Movement, FAM. In fact, that's a bit too radical. So we changed that to Call to Australia, calling Australia to God, back to the Bible, back to the family. And then after a period of time, in fact 20 years, from up to 97, in 97 we changed it to Christian Democratic Party. And so now we have a national party with branches in different states, candidates standing for the elections in all states, particularly for the Senate. We've concentrated on the upper houses, as they are the easiest to get elected to. It's very difficult to win seats in the lower house. You've got to get 50% of the vote. For the Senate, you've got to get 14%. And for the state upper house, you've got to get 4.6%. So we've made that our target, but we always have, though, 60 or more candidates standing for lower house. So we've got a very strong Christian party that stands for God and the family and for justice and decency. They've been my two bedrock principles, if you like, for our party.
That's great.